You know that feeling when you think Corrie's just ticking along, and then suddenly it's like every single character is in some sort of mess. That's next week in a nutshell. We've got Gary back in dangerous territory, Carla plotting a proposal, and Abi playing with fire. Again. Add in a missing child scare, and Steve packing his bags, and it's shaping up to be one of those weeks we'll all be talking about over a cuppa. So, let's get into it. Here are your 15 big Coronation Street spoilers for Monday 11th August to Friday, 15th August 2025. 1. Theo goes on the attack. We kick off with Theo absolutely losing it. He finds out that his family's photo has ended up on a church leaflet, pushing traditional family values, and that's enough to push him over the edge. Where does he go? Straight to the builder's yard, where he completely trashes the place. Gary walks in to find chaos everywhere and Theo in bits. Now, for fans who remember Gary's own temper issues, this is the kind of scene that makes you wonder, is Gary going to be the one to calm him down or make things worse? 2. Gary plans to teach Noah a lesson. And just like that, we've got our answer. Gary's not letting this slide. He's determined to pay Noah a visit after what he's heard, hammer in hand no less. Theo's practically begging him to leave it, worried it'll ruin his custody chances. But Gary's in that stubborn mode where reason doesn't work. Maria spots him heading to the community centre thanks to her tracker. Yes, she's still keeping tabs, and rushes over. But is she going to be quick enough to stop him crossing a very dangerous line? 3. Aadi gets a nasty shock. Over with Aadi, things take a surprising turn. He confesses to Amy about that accidental, spiking incident with Lauren, and she tries to reassure him. One thing leads to another. They admit they've both got feelings, and they end up sleeping together. Sounds like a nice moment, until policewoman Jess turns up to haul him in for questioning. I can't be the only one thinking, is this the start of yet another messy Aadi storyline? 4. Aadi causes trouble for Brody. If you thought Aadi might be keeping his head down after that, think again. Bernie's trying to get Brody a job at the shop, but Aadi's not having it. He drops him in it by revealing Brody was the one who brought drugs to that disastrous summer party. It's petty, it's risky, and it's going to cause tension, especially with Dev caught in the middle. 5. Bernie heads off without Dev. Speaking of Dev, Bernie suggests postponing their honeymoon after all the drama. She wants him to patch things up with Aadi first. Dev agrees, but in true Dev fashion, he spins it so Bernie goes off by herself for a break. The big question? Can Dev juggle his own family problems without her around to keep the peace? 6. Carla reveals her proposal plan. Now, onto something a bit lighter, at least for now. Carla and Lisa head to a life drawing class, but of course, Betsy pops up with yet another factory drama. Later, Carla tells Ryan she's planning to propose to Lisa. He's thrilled. But we know in Weatherfield, romantic plans never go smoothly. 7. Lisa starts to get suspicious. Carla's waiting for the engagement ring to arrive, whispering with Ryan about it. But Lisa notices and gets curious. She's actually planning her own surprise. A special ring for Betsy's 18th with Becky's fingerprints. That's sweet, but also slightly awkward timing, given what Carla's got up her sleeve. 8. Carla prepares to propose. The ring finally lands at number 6 and Carla's ready. Her plan? Pop the question at the Rovers, with Glenda sneaking the ring into Lisa's glass. Sounds perfect, unless someone overhears, spills, or completely ruins the moment. And given it's the Rovers, there's about a 90% chance something will. By the way, if you're still watching and you're enjoying keeping up with all this Corrie chaos, make sure you hit subscribe. It's the best way to get every spoiler as soon as it drops, and it really helps the channel out. 9. Abi takes another big risk. Abi really isn't helping herself here. She's telling Kevin she's under the weather, when in reality she's sneaking off for a spin with Carl. It's already risky enough, but Then they bump into Tyrone at the precinct, and she's diving down in the seat like a teenager caught out. Carl's trying to act like everything's fine, but you've got to wonder if Tyrone saw more than he's letting on. And let's face it, once suspicions start in Weatherfield, they don't usually stay quiet for long. The problem for Abi is she's playing a dangerous game in a place where everyone knows everyone's business. All it takes is one off comment, one awkward look, and the whole street will be talking. If Tyrone even hints to Kevin that something fell off, this could blow up in days. And with Abi's past, she's not exactly going to get the benefit of the doubt, is she? Viewers are going to have plenty to say if she's heading straight for another mess. 10. Abi and Carl's secret is under threat. Hope's always been one for a cheeky prank, but this time her silly snap of Tyrone might have caused a real problem. Tyrone's desperate to get rid of it, but Abi and Carl's sudden interest makes it pretty obvious they've got something to hide. If that photo has even the slightest clue about what they've been up to, it could be the thing that tips their little secret into full-blown scandal. The thought of them trying to sneak around and get hold of Hope's phone is pure Corrie gold. Because, let's be honest, Hope's not the type to give anything up quietly. If she starts getting suspicious, she'll dig her heels in. And once the kids start asking questions, the adults never stay in control for long. This could blow up faster than Abi and Carl expect, and viewers will have plenty to say if they get caught out over something as daft as a photo. 11. Steve moves out. Over at number 1, Steve finds out Tracy's been hiding the Preston's Petals valuation from him. That's it, he's done. He decides to move out, with Tyrone letting him stay with Cassie. Fizz, however, isn't exactly thrilled about this new house guest. I reckon this could be a low-key comedy side plot we all need amongst the chaos. 12. Doran goes missing. Honestly, trust Steve to land himself in trouble on day 1. Tyrone leaves Doran with him, and instead of keeping an eye, Steve nods off in front of the telly. Next thing he knows, the kid's vanished, and the street's buzzing with this awful theory that Doran might have hidden himself inside an old fridge that's just been carted off. You can imagine the sheer panic kicking in at that point. One minute you're thinking it's a quiet afternoon, the next you're frantically checking every cupboard and corner. It's the sort of storyline that really ramps up the tension because there's that horrible real-life edge to it. We've all heard those safety warnings about kids and old appliances. I reckon viewers will be glued to see how quickly they find him and whether Steve's going to get an earful from Tyrone afterwards. This could definitely cause a bit of a rift, especially if Fizz gets involved. And let's be honest, she's not one to bite her tongue when someone's messed up. 13. George's date goes wrong. George finally puts himself back out there and lines up a date with Samantha at the Rovers, but typical for him, it doesn't quite go to plan. The poor bloke barely gets a word in before Samantha spots Glenda, realises they went to primary school together, and the pair are straight into a full-on catch-up. You can almost see George sitting there, pint in hand, wondering how his romantic evening turned into him being the third wheel. It's classic George luck, really. Every time he tries for a bit of romance, something or someone seems to steal the spotlight. At least this time it's not an actual funeral getting in the way, but you've got to wonder if he's going to get a second date after this. And knowing Glenda, she's not exactly shy about taking centre stage, so if Samantha's more interested in reminiscing than romance, George might be heading back to square one. Viewers will definitely have a chuckle at this one, but they might feel for him too. 14. Dee Dee cuts back her work commitments. In a calmer moment, Dee Dee decides to go part-time so she can spend more time with Layla. She even suggests Adam bring Alia in to help pick up the slack. Fans who like seeing the solicitor's office drama will probably enjoy this new dynamic, but you can bet not everyone's going to be on board with the change. 15. Ronnie makes plans for the wedding. And we wrap up with Ronnie. He's booking a dementia choir from the community centre to sing at his and Debbie's wedding. It's a sweet touch, and a nice reminder that not every storyline has to end in disaster, though this is Corrie, so never say never. So that's next week. Theo's smashing up yards, Gary's got a hammer, Abby's hiding in cars, Steve's moving out, and Carla's ready to propose. It's going to be one of those weeks where the Friday episode ends and you just know Monday can't come quick enough. If you've got a theory about how any of this is going to play out, especially Carla's proposal or Abi's secret, drop it in the comments. I love reading what you lot think. And don't forget, like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell so you don't miss a single spoiler. See you next week for more Corrie drama.